Hello, Becky here. Welcome back or welcome to my channel. I am here to do another tag video with special guest Rex, who is not happy about me picking him up. Oh, okay. At least we don't hold him enough. Look, you blend in. So this is Rex. We got him a few months ago from a friend. We have no idea how old he is. He's at least like middle-aged. So I am going to be doing the Anti-TBR tag. So I know this tag was popular a while ago, and I am really behind on the times. But that's okay. We'll get into this. Let's try and make it quick. I know my videos, I tend to ramble on a lot, so I'm sure people would rather see your face than just the back of your body. Okay. So the Anti-TBR tag, I'm not sure who like started this or anything like that. It's been a while and I've seen a lot of people do it. But definitely look it up on YouTube and watch other people's videos and comment down below if you've done this and share it with me. Whether you have like a book blog and you just wrote about it, or if you have a video, let me know and I'll check it out for sure. So let's do this quickly. I can already hear the baby starting to cry and I have no pumped milk available because he won't stop nursing long enough to let me pump most of the time. So, Anti-TBR tag, a popular book everyone loves that you have no interest in reading. So there is a lot of those out there, but I was reading these questions out loud and my husband said Dune and I was like, yeah, pretty much. So basically with books like that, like Dune and stuff, I'm not saying that I wouldn't enjoy the story. There's just so many books out there that I really want to read, and it's not the kind of book I would normally go for. So I just don't want to read it. I may or may not watch the movie at some point, I don't know, but it's just not a book I'm interested in. There are some books out there that like have been really popular that I have not liked, but again, like a lot of these books, it's not that it's not a good story or not, just not interested in it. A classic book or author you don't have any interest in reading. I do read classic books and I've always felt like I've had to read classic books like when I was younger. Now I know like you don't need to read classic books to be considered a reader or even like a well-read person. But I do like reading the classics and being able to get the references and stuff for it, but sometimes I'm not interested in them. Like I've read Jane Eyre and stuff in the past and Little Women and everything like that. Now I tend to read classics because I have a really hard time sometimes with the language, or they're different than the way we write now. I enjoy classic books more as audiobooks, but there's two books that I've tried to listen to. So it's not that I'm not interested in classics, but I'm sure there's tons of classics out there that it's the big ones that you hear about, like I've listened to like Moby Dick and stuff like that. A classic book or author. So Dorian Gray I tried listening to I believe last year and I just couldn't get into it, and it could have just been I was not in the right headspace. I was a little bit distracted and I was like, what's going on? I have no idea. I was so lost in it. So maybe trying to read it at another time or as like a physical book might be better, but right now I'm like, no, not interested. And the second one is Dracula. Like I read Frankenstein a few years ago around Halloween and I loved it. And I was like, I really need to read Dracula. I've heard good things about Dracula. And me and my husband were trying to listen to it and we just got like so bored and lost and we're like, what is going on? I have no idea what's happening right now. So that's one I'm not really interested in reading. A problematic author whose books you have no interest in reading. She Who Shall Not Be Named. I have never read her books. I've watched a few of the movies when I was younger and they were coming out. Like I was saying before, they're just not my typical book that I want to read. Not my usual genre. And like, again, I'm sure the books are excellent. My one friend loves them. I'm sure like if I started reading it, I'd probably want to keep up with it. But I just, no interest. I'm good. An author you have read a couple of books from and have decided their books are not for you. So I picked Anne Brashares for this. I read the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, those books, and I loved them. Really connected with the characters. I think the books, or the movies anyways, were coming out like when I was that age. So like now as an adult, I might not be able to connect with the characters quite the same way, but there's that nostalgia factor there. And having been able to connect with them in different ways when I was that age, I can remember that. But I've read a few of her other books because I'm like, oh, I really like her. She's a good author. And no, like just no interest in the one book. I was like, this is so boring. What is going on? Another book, it was like way too predictable and way too like preachy about like the environment and stuff like that. And I just like, no, it's just Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. That's what she wrote that I liked and that's it. A genre you have no interest in or a genre you tried to get into and couldn't. So horror is not really my genre, and I've read a few horror books, and I'm not saying I'll never read horror ever, but it's just not a genre I'm diving a lot into. I read a few horror books in 2020 for the Fortnite Frights and Black Aweenathon, and I found them not so much scary, more disturbing and gross. The one book I liked it, but I'm kind of scared to read anything else by him, was The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones, and I've heard so many good things about his stuff, and I enjoyed that book, and I understand why people really like him, and I do want to read that. It's like The Final Girls or whatever. I do want to read that one, or no, My Heart is a Chainsaw. There's a few books that are about like final girls, but his is called My Heart is a Chainsaw, and I do want to listen to that or read it, but like for the most part, I don't really read. Where are you going, Rex? Oh my gosh. I don't really read horror and high fantasy. I do like fantasy stories and stuff like that, but it's not my go-to genre. So I'm not really interested in getting into those. And they're usually like such a long series too. So it's a lot to get, it's a big, huge commitment to get into. Where like a horror book, you might just have like one. I know that Heart as a Chainsaw is going to be a trilogy. But like a trilogy is okay, but sometimes they're really quite big. And I am reading the Outlander books again right now, and there's 9 of them out, and I think it's going to end with the 10th book whenever that becomes available. So there are series like Outlander's like the longest series I've been like committed to. Besides that, like I don't want to read more than like maybe 3, and I usually don't read a lot of series. I like to just read the single books, and I know high fantasy is quite a lot of long series. A book you have bought but will never read. And this can be a book you have unhauled or returned to the library unread. So I have returned books to the library unread, but it's more either I wasn't interested and I DNF'd it, or I just hadn't had the time and couldn't get to it. I don't typically buy books that I'm not going to read. Like, if it's like a pretty cover or something, if I'm not interested in the story, why would I spend my money on it? So there's not a lot of books I can think of. Going back to classics, I do have a couple classic books from, I had like a book box kind of thing that my husband, I bought like a 3-month subscription for my friend for Christmas, and then my husband bought the same one for me to have so that we could like do it together. And there's a couple of classic books in there that I wouldn't normally pick up on my own, but I'm going to try it. Like, I'm still going to try and read them whenever I can get to them, but I haven't like actively bought any books that I wouldn't buy, or haven't bought any books that I don't plan to read. Whether or not I get to them is a different story. A series you have no interest in reading, or a series you started and have DNF. So I put down Cassandra Clare. Never even heard of her before BookTube and being part of the bookish community online. So he does not want me to hold him. Again, another one of those like fantasy long books, long series that I'm not going to get into it, because like I said with story, like these stories might be excellent and I might get into it, but then I'm committed to so many books, and that's kind of like what's putting me off from it, I guess. Just something I'm not interested in at this moment. And a new release you have no interest in reading, so I don't really keep up with new releases, especially if I'm not interested in reading them, obviously. He's just gonna hang out. Oh, he's threatening me. Hold on. Rex! Don't threaten me! So I put Sarah J. Maas for that. And Cassandra Clare and Sarah J. Maas seem to have a new book out all the time, and I'm just not interested in those books right now. So yeah, that's the end of the Anti-TBR Tag. So let me know if you've done this. Let me know what's a popular author or book series or whatever that you're not interested in reading at all. And have you read any of these books or series that I am not interested in? Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, all those good things. Support small Canadian content creators. And I will see you next time. Say bye, Rex. Bye.